I used to think I was a good person, not in a loud way, not in a look at me way, just quietly, like most people do. I recycled. I said the right things. I posted the right opinions. I hated the right villains. I defended the right victims. I believed that meant something. Then one night I watched a man get punched in the street. It wasn't dramatic. No screaming. No hero moment. Just a drunk guy saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. I didn't step in. Neither did anyone else. We all stood there like statues, pretending to be neutral, phones half raised, eyes wide, no one moving. And afterward, we did what humans do best. We talked about it. How could he do that? People are so evil. I would never. But here's the part that bothered me. None of us helped, but all of us judged. That's when it hit me. Morality isn't something we practice. It's something we display, like a badge, like a uniform. We don't use it when it costs us. We use it when it's visible. Online, you can be moral for free. No risk, no blood, no fear. You just type the correct sentence and feel clean again. But in real life, morality demands things: time, discomfort, conflict, risk. And suddenly, most people are busy. We call ourselves good because we know the rules, not because we follow them. We say, I believe in justice, but we avoid confrontation. We say, I stand for truth, but we lie to keep peace. We say, I care about suffering, but only when it doesn't interrupt dinner. Morality became a language, not an action, a costume. You don't have to be kind, you just have to look kind. You don't have to be brave. You just have to post brave words. And the terrifying part, we believe ourselves. We mistake agreement for goodness. We mistake opinions for character. We mistake symbols for a sacrifice. Ancient philosophers used to argue about virtue like it was a muscle. You had to train it, strengthen it, prove it through behavior. Now, virtue is something you announce, like a brand. And once morality becomes branded, it becomes competitive. Who's more outraged? Who's more righteous? Who's more pure? Not to reduce suffering, but to win status, to feel superior without doing anything difficult. That night on the street, no one was evil, but no one was good either. We were moral in theory and empty in practice, which raises a question nobody likes to ask. If your morality disappears the moment it costs you something, was it ever real? Or was it just a performance you rehearsed for applause? And if morality is mostly something we wear, then what happens when the audience leaves? After that night, I started paying attention, not to criminals, not to villains, to normal people, friends, co-workers, strangers online. Every time something bad happened, there was a strange energy, not sadness, excitement. A scandal breaks, a mistake goes viral, a person falls, and suddenly everyone becomes a philosopher. Accountability, consequences, justice. But watch closely. They're smiling. Judgment feels good. It feels like standing on higher ground. When you point at someone's failure, something inside you relaxes, because their fall means you're still standing. Judgment isn't about morality. It's about hierarchy. Someone must be lower so someone else can feel higher. That's why we love stories of downfall. Not because we care about truth, but because it proves we're not the worst. There's comfort in saying, at least I'm not like that. Judgment is psychological oxygen. It lets us breathe without changing. Instead of fixing ourselves, we condemn others. Instead of facing our own flaws, we spotlight someone else's. And the best part, judgment feels like virtue. You can hate someone and call it ethics. You can enjoy cruelty and call it justice. You can feed on outrage and call it awareness. It's violence dressed as principle. The crowd doesn't want redemption. It wants blood without guilt. We pretend we're punishing wrongdoing, but what we're really doing is protecting our self-image. Because if that person is bad, then I must be good. And if I'm good, then I don't need to change. That's the trap. Judgment freezes the soul. It turns morality into a weapon instead of a mirror. And mirrors are dangerous. Mirrors ask, would you be different if no one was watching? Would you still be kind? Would you still be honest? Would you still care? Or do you only perform goodness because failure is public now? The internet didn't invent judgment. It industrialized it. Now morality is mass-produced. Outrage is automated. Shame is infinite. And the strangest part, we feel morally superior for doing nothing but watching. Like spectators at an execution who think they're on the side of justice because they didn't swing the sword. But enjoying someone's fall doesn't make you righteous. It makes you relieved. Relieved it wasn't you. Relieved your flaws are still hidden. Relieved you get to stay comfortable. And that leads to a darker thought. If you enjoyed judging others, what would happen if the spotlight turned on you? Would your morality survive inspection? Or would it collapse the same way theirs did? Here's the part nobody admits. We don't want to be good. We want to be seen as good. Being good is painful. Being seen as good is easy. One requires sacrifice. The other requires language. So we build identities instead of character. I'm the kind of person who I always stand for, these are stories, not evidence. We invent versions of ourselves that exist mostly in imagination. And then we protect those versions violently. Any criticism feels like an attack. Any contradiction feels like betrayal. Any failure feels like exposure. So we lie. To others. To ourselves. Not about facts. About who we are. We call ourselves honest, but avoid uncomfortable truths. We call ourselves compassionate, but only when it costs nothing. We call ourselves moral, but only when it flatters us. Deep down, we know. That's why judgment is addictive. It keeps the lie intact. If someone else is worse, then I don't have to look closer. But philosophy has always warned us about this, that the most dangerous lie is the one you tell about yourself. Because once you believe you're already good, you stop trying to become better. You don't examine motives. You don't question impulses. You don't notice cruelty in small forms. You just protect the image. And that's how people with good intentions do terrible things. Not because they hate goodness, but because they think they already possess it. Real morality is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand applause. It doesn't need enemies. It looks like restraint when no one sees. It looks like action when it's inconvenient. It looks like doubt instead of certainty. It asks uncomfortable questions like, am I helping or performing? Am I judging or understanding? Am I moral or just socially correct? Most people don't want answers because answers require change, and change threatens identity. So we cling to our costumes. We post the right slogans. We condemn the right villains. We join the right side and quietly avoid the hardest task of all, becoming something better when there's no reward for it, no audience, no validation, no status, just conscience. And maybe that's the real illusion, not right and wrong, but the idea that calling yourself good means anything at all. Because in the end, morality isn't what you believe, it's what you do when belief is inconvenient. And most of us don't want to find out who we really are. There was a man in Florence who wrote something dangerous, that people don't act morally because they love virtue. They act morally because they fear consequences. His name was Machiavelli, and for saying that out loud, history turned him into a villain. But look at a world he lived in. Cities pretending to be holy while assassinating rivals. Leaders preaching mercy while funding wars. Priests speaking about humility while wearing gold. Machiavelli didn't invent hypocrisy. He just refused to pretend it wasn't there. And today, the performance has gotten cleaner. You don't need to be good. You just need to look good. A company poisons a river, but posts a black square and calls it awareness. A politician lies, but apologizes with the right words and keeps power. A person cheats, but cries convincingly and gets forgiveness. Morality has become branding. Nietzsche warned about this. He said modern morality wasn't born from strength. It was born from weakness, pretending to be virtue. From people who couldn't dominate the world physically, so they learned to dominate it morally. They turned their limitations into laws. They said, if I can't win, then winning must be evil. If I can't desire freely, then desire must be sinful. If I can't stand out, then standing out must be dangerous. So, morality became a social weapon, not to guide behavior, but to control it. Think about the last time someone was canceled. Was it because they caused real harm, or because they broke an invisible rule? The mob doesn't ask, what did they do? It asks, how does this make us look? That's performative morality. It doesn't care about truth. It cares about alignment. The Stoics saw this too. Marcus Aurelius wrote that most people don't seek justice. They seek approval. They don't want to live well. They want to be seen living well. So they copy the language. They wear the mask. They repeat the slogans. But inside, nothing changes. That's why moral outrage feels so intense online. It's not about fixing the world. It's about proving you're not the villain. And once morality becomes performance, something strange happens. The worst crimes stop being actions and start being thoughts. You can do harm quietly, but if you think wrong publicly, you're dangerous. So people stop asking, is this true? And start asking, is this allowed? And that's where freedom dies. Not from tyranny, from agreement, from everyone playing the same role in the same play, terrified to step off stage. Which raises a disturbing question. If your morality disappears the moment it costs you something, was it ever morality at all? Or was it just a costume you wore when it was safe?